What to measure and ignore in business in 2026. We're going to talk about data that drives results. Businesses drown in data, but this episode, we're going to unpack numbers that actually drive growth and results so you can make better decisions. And hey, don't stop listening because you're like, data, boring. I'm going to tell you that, of my 10 steps that are coming out in my book, a whole chapter is about tracking. I know it's not sexy. I know it's not thrilling, but it is powerful. So powerful. Welcome to season 7 of Referral Roadmap, business growth in an age of AI and uncertainty. This season, we're cutting through the noise and getting real about what actually moves the needle for small businesses in 2026. From AI tools that save you time, to winning in the zero-click search era, to building teams and systems, resilience, and a referral engine that still wins even in a digital age. We're giving you strategies you'll need to grow with confidence no matter what the economy throws your way. Let's dive in. You're not going to want to miss this one. It is something that you really want to listen to. So you'll want to stay engaged. Please, I'm begging you. I know it's not fun, but it is necessary if you want to grow your business. And I don't care how big your business is. You need to know this. So I'm going to ask Jada to go into some detail for you guys, and then we'll go into our story like we always do. But I wanted to say thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much for listening. And we have to say this, please like and subscribe. I know it sounds silly to have to say that, but we will not get exposure. And if without exposure, we can't make the impact. Please understand, we're not getting paid to do this. This is for us to give our knowledge and what we've learned the very hard way to you so that you don't have to suffer like we do. So please make sure that you like, subscribe, leave reviews, and most importantly, please share this with another business. I'm just going to tell you, as a consultant, as a business coach, other businesses need to hear this. And they can pay people big money or they can listen to us. So please get this out there. So I appreciate you listening. I hope that you stick with us because, again, this information may sound unsexy, but the money you make is not unsexy. So Jada, let's go through. Let's talk about the definitions and describe this a little bit more.
Well, this is a topic that I'm excited about. And anyone that's been listening to the podcast long enough to know me knows that I am thrilled about this because I always love to give you guys facts and figures. And today we get to talk all about that. So it is right up my alley. But really today what we're talking about is how data is everywhere in business, from website analytics to CRM dashboards to social media metrics. Really small business owners specifically are surrounded by numbers. The challenge isn't the access to the numbers, it's what to focus on. Too many leaders drown in those vanity metrics that look impressive but don't actually move your business forward. So what really matters? The growth metrics. These are the numbers that directly impact revenue, profitability, and long-term sustainability. They tell you whether your marketing, your sales, and your operations are actually producing results or whether they're just keeping you busy. At the same time, there are numbers that you can safely ignore. So likes on social media or even raw traffic to your website really doesn't mean much if they aren't turning into conversions, clients, and cash flow. So in 2026, the businesses that thrive are going to be the ones that define their key performance metrics or KPMs clear, measurable numbers tied to growth, not vanity. They track consistently, reviewing weekly or monthly, not just once in a while. And then they take action on the insight. So they use that data to make decisions about where to spend time, money, and energy. In short, data doesn't have to overwhelm you. When you focus on the right numbers and let go of the wrong ones, you can gain clarity, control, and confidence in your path to grow. So that's what we'll be talking about today. And I'm just personally excited about this topic.
I am too. And so I really want to, the story today, you guys, I'm going to really put Jada and I out there, and then I'm going to bring up a coaching client that I have as well about some of their experience. But I got to tell you, Jada and I, if we were to share with you what we call our scoreboards, and we use I'm going to give a shout out to the EOS system, which is Entrepreneurial Operating System. It is a fantastic, if you are a entrepreneurial person or a small business, I can't say enough. Hey, Jada, would you mind dropping Rod's link in there?
Yes, I will.
We have an EOS, what they call implementer, and that is somebody who teaches us about EOS. It is not inexpensive, FYI. However, it's super powerful. And I just want to give credit there where credit is due. Um, and also, Jada, I think we could even add in, I know we have like traction, the link for
Traction, and then
traction, the
there's, I
book.
think, a book. Is it called, I may be making this up, but is it called, like, What the Heck is EOS or something like
Yes,
that?
yes, yes. So we'll put all that in there. I don't want to, share info that you're like, Athena, what the heck is that? That's the basis. But I'll tell you, so we implemented this over 2 years ago in our businesses. And what it did, we tracked things before, but the way the EOS system works is it makes you get very honest about what your goals are. What are your goals for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? And then what do you need to literally track in order for you to achieve the results? You guys, this is super critical. I talk about this in all of my coaching sessions, in my consulting sessions, in many of my courses, especially my building your goals and dream classes. If you don't know what to measure, then your dream stays a dream and it never will come a reality. You can tell yourself, I'm going to become a business that does this amount, but if you're not tracking it and know what to track so that you know what you need to do, you're going to do it's guesswork. And guesswork is not where you want to be in business. So what we have learned is we look at what is our 1 year goal. Um, and we say to ourselves, if this is what we want to achieve in 1 year, then what do we want to achieve in 1 month? In 60 days, 90 days, in 6 months? You've got to reverse engineer it and then decide what are the things that have to be tracked in order for those critical marks to actually become truth. So there's a little bit of science here. There's a lot of tracking involved in there. I'm not going to say it's joyful, even though Jada loves it. I'm not going to say the tracking of it is joyful, but I'm going to say it's one of the most powerful tools you have in business. Most powerful tools. Because how do you know what to change if you don't know what's working or not working? And how do you know what is actually moving the needle to you achieving if you're not tracking what you're doing? You can fool yourself very easily in business. Our self protection will want to tell us things are working that are not working, and numbers don't lie. Jada and I, we could write a whole nother book called Numbers Don't Lie because numbers take out ego, right? Numbers tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to see. So, what are some of those things? And I know you're going to go through, we're going to talk about that, but I just want to tell you when we started figuring out that, we needed to track every lead coming into the business, we needed to track where it came from. We needed to track every email, which ones are being opened, which ones weren't, which newsletters, which ones are being opened, which ones aren't. We needed to make sure that we understood every marketing campaign. What was it trying to achieve? Is it achieving it? If it's not achieving it, why is it not achieving it? I know we just had a call yesterday that was pretty eye opening to me where we were talking about something that we had launched online to sell. And then we realized our most popular social media outlet, we didn't promote it on it. Oops, right? Oops. Had we not tracked our results, we wouldn't have learned that. So, as we go forward, guess what? We're going to do different. We're going to make sure it gets posted on there too. So, here's the thing. You're going to make mistakes. We make mistakes. If you're not tracking it, you're not going to catch your mistakes and you will fool yourself. You need to know how many first appointments or phone calls it takes in order to get a lead to convert. These are things that you need to know in order to move your business through. You need to know how many referral partners. You need to be tracking what is your follow-up system? What is your prospecting system? Is it being followed? Is it not being followed? There's so much, Jada, that we track.
Yeah, kind of an absurd amount, and but it's all helpful, like, we wouldn't track it if it wasn't, you know?
Mm-mm. No, and I don't want to overwhelm you guys. I will tell you, I'm going to give you in the rubber meets the road some basic things to track. I'm explaining all of this to you is because we have complex businesses that are thriving and growing and um, scaling. And so, because of that, we have learned the power of tracking. And Jada, I just want, when you started working here, working with me 4 years ago, what level of track? I mean, did you guys in the financial industry do a lot of tracking?
Honestly, we did a lot of, like, documentation, I would say, but not a lot of tracking.
Interesting.
So, we
Okay.
documented, because it was the financial industry, every conversation, every email, like, we did a lot of documenting, just to, make sure that
Hmm.
everything we had communicated to any client or potential client was on file. But as far as, like, tracking, when I was making those initial calls, like, yes, I was tracking how many calls I made a day, but there was really no metric other than the firm's, like, historical of, like, what they expected. Like, they expected every financial advisor to, and I worked for a financial advisor, to be clear, but they expected every financial advisor to make 40 calls a day or 40 dials, if you will. And that was based on their historical data, for as long as the firm had been open. But that was never, like, adjusted, whereas what I've noticed in the home building industry is, whenever I first started with Turner& and Son Homes, we had like, a metric of how many first appointments we needed to get how many contracts we needed a year. Now we're even more dialed in of how many leads do we need to get the amount of first appointments that we need to get those amount of leads. If we're going to get 50% from, say, referrals and 50% from web, which just kind of making those numbers up. But if that's what our goal is, how many referral partners do we need to get 50% of the leads we need? Like, it is just very dialed in. As opposed to, like, when I did first start, we did have a lot of tracking then, but I feel like even now more so, we're really dialed into the granular details.
Hmm. And I mean, you've lived it. You
Mhm.
have went through this whole process with us, and you have helped us create all of our scorecards for both businesses and even for what we call progression, which is once a client we're designing their house to when they close on the construction loan and start building. You've been, intimate in all of those decisions. I mean, what would you just say? Because I honestly now would consider you a tracking guru, a tracking expert. I know you're continuing to learn
Thank you.
as we learn,
Mhm.
but what would you say to the audience that's saying, "Hey, Jada, I don't have time for this"?
You don't have time not to.
Yeah, yeah.
If you don't know, if you're not tracking, then you don't know what's really working and what's not, and if you're telling me I don't have the hours to track something, you could be spending all the hours you, quote, unquote, "don't have" doing something that doesn't even work.
Mhm. Yeah, man, I just gotta tell you, so, and I know we have a whole and you did chime in the tracking part of the book, for sure,
Yeah.
and I know you're helping me create the resources. I can't say this enough, you guys, listen. Business is getting trickier, and things are changing more rapidly. If you've ever needed to track, it's now. You need to know what is moving your needle closer to your goals, closer to what you and your team want to achieve. You first of all also need to know what you want to achieve. Can I just say that? I want to do a little tangent if you'll give me a second.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many coaching clients I have. Now, but mind you, most of my consulting coaching clients are already successful people. They're successful people. They have already been to other trainers. They read the books. They're amazing people, but they're stuck somewhere. There's something that is stuck, and they know they need more help, and they don't know where to go. And we come together, and I help them get unstuck. I help them scale the business how they want to, open their eyes to things they're not seeing, and or I help them determine what they really want out of their business. And I think this is something I think a lot of coaches are like, I'm just supposed to help you get more. But what if your more is not what you want? What if you want to have a life, have a business, but make enough to do X, Y, and Z. Well, you need to know what that is. So then you can start tracking the behaviors and tracking the results so that you start understanding how you build that life you want with your business. And I consider this when you control your business doesn't control you, right? That I've learned, oddly, is a specialty of mine. I don't always, somebody said, man, not every review is saying you tripled their business. And I'm like, because not every person I work with wants to triple their business. Some of them want to triple their life while they still have a great business, right? So really important that you ask yourself, what is it that you want from your business and why? And then what metrics do you have to put into place daily, monthly, yearly in order to achieve those things? I think I really want you to hear this because um, I don't know, it just really matters to me. My most satisfied is when people are like, Athena, I'm making money and this is fun and I'm doing what I love, but I also have a life. I don't know about y'all, but that's nice, right? And in all different lines of work. But also I have a client, we just recently signed him up, and he owns um oh, I don't want to give him away. He owns a business and that's been around for a long time, decades. And he's in a business where he should be tracking the results he gives clients. He's in a business that in order for him to really be able to tell people what he's done for people, he should be tracking the results he does for clients. And when I sat down with him and we had talked through that, he was like, I really should have been doing that. Not only for my purposes, because he needed to be tracking that information to know the impact of like, what was his unique value proposition? What is that thing that he does for everybody that he's like, man, I'm really good at that compared to my competition? How does he know if he's not tracking that? He doesn't know the impact he's really making on people without tracking it. And so there's internal confidences for he and his team that they're missing out on, but also marketing opportunity where they can prove like, hey, this is what we've done. But the other thing that by not tracking he failed to do was translate that information to his clients. This is information that his clients need to get from him. And so I want you to think about, tracking is critical for you in your own business, but are you also tracking what you're doing well for the clients? That is something as we continue to scale my consulting business, we will have to work on and make sure that we have very good metrics that we're doing based on each individual client so that we can give them those results as well. Right now, everything is so unique that each one is a little different, but as we scale, we will have to do the same thing. So I want you to just to think through this because you're leaving money on the table, you're leaving knowledge on the table of what is working, what's not. You're leaving confidence on the table because maybe you're killing it at something and you don't even know it, right? And I don't want that for you. And so these are just some of the reasons. We could nerd out on this all day, but I will be quiet with my story and my pump up, get you motivated about this. But I know it's I know we have science here. So I'm going to give this to my fellow love the numbers gal, Jada, and we'll go through some of the numbers and then I'll give you guys some rubber meets the road. Again, please, you guys, I'm going to tell you something. Everyone in business needs this podcast. Please share this podcast. This is an easy fix to take back control of your business and scale your business. So, Jada, what's the numbers?
Well, I mean, what would a statistics and data driven podcast be without the numbers?
Well, we'll always have
Yeah.
numbers.
Well, we'll always have numbers and facts. But yes, so I did pull out 3 statistics for this one as well. And vanity metrics, I mentioned that
Yeah.
term earlier in the introduction. And really what that means, that's the likes on your social media. It's the page views on your social media or even your website. It's your follower counts. It's that raw website traffic. Those vanity metrics, they look good, but they don't necessarily tell you anything useful about your business's performance other than maybe how your SEO is, working. But what matters are the more actionable metrics and tracking those. So those are the ones that tie directly to your goals and let you make decisions. So What I found was that experts advise if you can't name a decision that you'd make based on a metric,
Mm.
then it's probably a vanity metric.
Mhm.
So I found that that was really interesting and
That
just like a
vanity
good
metric thing, whew, it's like I'm getting hot just even I'm like,
True. I mean, well, and it's one of those they make you feel good. Like
I know.
they do.
You
They
know
make
the likes that get you nothing? Do they
Mhm.
feed your ego.
They do, and they make you,
Oh,
if you get 100 likes on a social media post, you're like, "Man, I'm doing good." But if none of them went to your website and converted, doesn't matter.
it's trickery.
It is.
And there are people who will sell you that all the likes do mean you're popular.
Yep, they sure will.
If it don't make you money, then you're not popular in business. You're just popular in the world of, I don't know,
Social
popular of
media.
whatever. I don't know what you're popular in a
Yeah.
fake world.
Yep.
I guess social media is such a fake world. Anyway,
It
I
is.
digress. What's your
Okay.
next one?
The next one is how small businesses must track financial and marketing metrics that reflect growth, not just activity. So for small businesses, essential metrics include things like revenue growth, net profit margin, customer acquisition cost, customer lifetime value, and lead conversion rates. These numbers are going to help you see whether your marketing and operations are truly producing profits or just busyness. And then the next one is on a study of small and medium enterprises. It showed that adding business analytics and decision support systems improved business outcomes, enabling better strategic decisions based on data rather than our gut feelings. Among marketers, teams also using analytics and tracking meaningful metrics are 3 times as likely to report having a competitive advantage in customer loyalty and engagement. Hmm.
Whoa.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I think that solidifies our passion about this subject. I'm just saying. Those were great stats. And yeah, we get passionate about this subject even though it's not the sexiest business subject, but it is powerful. So, hey, you guys, I want to get you guys some rubber meets the road here because it's really important in 2026 that you are thinking about this and beyond. None of these things are going to change. What you track may change, but the necessariness, I don't know if that's a word. Your your need to track will not change. Athena Bonics right there, baby, at its best. All right. But number one, rubber meets the road is I want you to pick if you're not tracking anything, I want you to pick 3 to 5 core metrics. And I want you to be thinking of things that actually bring revenue. So revenue growth, you need to know if you are increasing your revenue. I hope you know that. I hope you know how many leads you're getting and where you're getting them from. I think this is critical. Because of referrals, I would love for you to be tracking your referrals. But I want you to think through what are the things you have to track that if you don't track them, that your business could go under. So I'm going to say simple. You need to know your marketing efforts. You need to know your leads. You need to know your conversion ratio, and you need to know what you need to be tracking how many people you need to sell every month or year or quarter in order to hit your revenue goals. You need to know what those things are. And you need to know what your revenue is. I know that sounds so silly, but I'm going to tell you, Jada, sadly, I can't tell you how many businesses, fortunately, I have Tim, but how many business people sit down and they don't know how much revenue they have, right? And it's trickery. So pick your 3 to 5 metrics that you know will move the needle. Set clear targets. Um, for example, just don't say, vagueness never works. And we always talk about SMART goals, but say something like, we want a 20% conversion ratio, and this is what we're going to go after. We just talked about in my consulting business that when I speak, we want a 60 to 70% download percent, where we give a gift resource. We want 60 to 70% of the crowd to download it. And that is my team and I's expectation to make that so worthwhile, people will want it. Now, that's where we're at today. There will be a time where that number should hit in the 90s, right? But we track that every speech. Is that happening? If it's not happening, what does Athena need to change? What do we need to change to make the product better, more appealable to the client? So you really need to have clear expectations. And can I be bold here? Some of these expectations are audacious. Some of them are hard to hit. Jada and I do not create snowflakey expectations. We push ourselves hard. But what we do affects many people's employment, so we don't take that lightly. And so you want to make sure that you are setting very clear targets, um, and that make them a little audacious, make them a little hard to reach. Not don't make every goal hard to reach, but make some of them surprise yourself. Make yourself proud of yourself when you hit it because you're more capable than you think. I promise you. I promise you that. Number 3, review them. You gotta review them weekly. Jada, unfortunately, Tuesdays are our days. I don't remember, Jada. I think we were in 6 meetings on our last Tuesday.
We
We're
were. It was brutal, but hey,
but
it helps. It
it
does help, I
helps.
will say, to
Yes.
stay in
Now
that
I will
meeting
say we
mindset.
do an EOS meeting. We don't do meetings to have meetings. We have an agenda. They're timed. They're extremely structured. So we don't do meetings. Meetings are not creative avoidance in our businesses. Matter of fact, our team gets really ticked off if we have a meeting that's not extremely productive because we have things to do. But you need to meet weekly to go over those metrics, go over them with your team, know what's working, know what's not working, adjust it quickly, address the issues head on. Business is not a place to keep your head in the sand. Okay. This is a let's know what's going on, let's impact it, and let's make a difference. And how do we change the behavior as quickly as possible? Right. I mean, that's what you're looking for. Number 4, you guys, tie every metrics to a decision. So I want you to think about this. If you can't say, how would this do differently if this number goes up and down? Or how would this affect my business? If the metrics doesn't have a direct impact on your business, it doesn't need to be the metrics that you need to be doing. Okay. So I want you to think about that. Like Jada and I, we have to measure where every piece of marketing, what's generating. Why do we, that's a metrics. We can ask ourselves and say, does this make a difference to our bottom line? I think so. If we ask ourselves, like we just had something, I came up with a new campaign recently and we've executed it. It's not producing results. What did Jada do yesterday? She's like, it's not producing results. Athena, one of your to dos is to dig into it and figure out why is it not working? What do we need to do to make it working? We're talking about that. Like, is measuring this going to make you have to decide, does this impact our business and or not? So think about that. So just don't measure things to measure thing. Is it going to make a difference in my business? And then use dashboards. We use that EOS tool that we're going to link in there. It's called an L10, right?
Yeah,
I-90.
it's the website is called 90.io, but it's an L10 formatted meeting. So if you dig into EOS, you'll learn more about what that
You'll learn
means.
all that.
Yes.
We use that. Now I will tell you, not only for our meetings and our priorities, we use the EOS system, but we use the dashboards within HubSpot. So we have multiple dashboards where we are tracking everything. Now, I will say the dashboards in HubSpot is where we get the information, then disseminate into the more filtered information. So we track a lot more in HubSpot, and then we decide is dashboard worthy for critical. These are critical things. So I want you to think about that. Like, if you don't have HubSpot and you don't use EOS, um, then Google Sheets, a whiteboard. But you're going to need to have a visual tool that makes you accountable. And one of the things I will tell you when you're using dashboards and accountability, I love to say this quote by Tony Dungy, but it's no excuses, no explanations. When you're using dashboards, it's yes, I hit it or yes, I didn't. Yes, I did it or yes, I didn't. No explanations. None of this. I think even in one of our meetings now, we've outlawed, I'm waiting for somebody to call. We're not allowed to say waiting. We're not allowed to say fine. Trying is out. Like, we're a tough bird. We're tough birds. But what we're looking for is no excuses. That you have done what you needed to do and that you can see it and you know what you need to be accountable to yourself and to your team. And then, right,
Laughing over here with you, Athena, of the waiting because It has been such a mind shift too. And I know anyone that, ever uses the term, I'm waiting on someone else for something else. It is a mindset shift. Whenever we're in our meetings, I'm sitting there and I'm like, how do I rephrase what I'm about to say?
Yeah. Oh, I'll
I've
tell
gotten
you
better at
what.
it now, but especially in the beginning, I was like, man,
Oh,
'cause you take on that no excuses mindset, and that means there's always a clear next step that's not dependent on waiting on someone else.
still working on that too. I mean, you've called me out a couple of times. I got called out at a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I'm still working at changing that mindset personally myself. And so,
Yeah.
but I think it's really important because what you're doing, right, and what we're doing while we're changing this behavior and this mindset is what can you control? What are you doing? Are you making sure that you're controlling the best of every decision, every activity within your business? And that's what we're talking about. And so by the way, someday we'll have to record one of our meetings and people will laugh, but um or we'll have a really good one because we score them. Hey, by the way, we
That's true.
score them. They have to get scored. And
Well,
if
and
you
that's where the
score
10
low,
comes from. Yeah, that's
yeah.
what it's a level 10 meeting. Like, the goal is to get a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 or 0 to
Mhm.
10, on how well you felt like the meeting, you covered the right metrics, you had good conversation that led to productive activities, you didn't get off on tangents or waste time, there was not excuses made. Like, it is to get a 10, it sometimes can feel really hard, but
Especially in the beginning.
yeah,
But
once you
it
get in
makes
the
for a
groove of it, I
very
do
good
feel like it's a lot
productive
easier.
meeting.
Yeah.
So, you know. All right, you guys, number 6, involve your team. You have to, if you run a business, and everybody in your business has to be on the same page. I know recently somebody asked me, one of my coaching clients, they said, "Do I need to tell my 1099 people?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, everyone that is working with you, you need to be rowing in the same direction to make sure that everybody understands, hey, this is the goal, this is where we're going, this is why we're going there. Let's all work together to achieve." You think of it like an Olympic team. I think that that's really important. And last, Jada brought this up, you guys, but we've got to look at your all of everything that you're doing and drop one vanity metric. Okay. Um, and that is something that you're tracking because it feels good, or somebody told you that you should track it, but it's not giving you results. So, for example, you know, think through if a post gave you a lot of reactions, likes, and reactions, but it didn't create a lot of conversations, created 0 conversion ratio. You gotta really ask yourself what was the purpose, right? And start really looking at it. This is not a popularity game, it's a revenue game. And it's not an ego game, it's a stability game in business. So really start thinking about the things that you're tracking and make sure that they're not ego driven and they're results driven. Very important there. So I thank you for sticking it out. I know tracking is not everybody's favorite, but Jada, where do we go from here?
Yes. Well, if this episode was applicable to you and your business, please subscribe, share it with someone who needs it, and leave us a review. That way it makes it easier for other people to find it. And don't forget, Athena's book is coming out soon. So get early access discounts and exclusive extras by joining the list in our show notes. Speaking of the show notes, I will make sure that there is a link to download the season 7 resource guide, the 2 books we talked about, the What the Heck is EOS, and Traction, along with Rod's information, as he's an EOS implementer in Oklahoma City. Believe he does nationwide, but he's local to Oklahoma City. And then also, I'm going to go ahead and link, we didn't say this during the episode, but I'm going to go ahead and link Athena's 5-day tracking course, because this is a topic that you want to dive deeper on, that is a really good next step for you. So I will get all of that linked in the show notes, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for being here, guys.